Well, hello, friends in Facebook land. Hope everybody is doing well. We've come to the end of another hopefully productive and meaningful week. Can't believe it's Friday. It's the Friday before Christmas. That's crazy. Um, I hope yours, that didn't sound very good. I hope you and yours is what I was trying to say, are doing well. And like I've been saying these last few interviews, don't forget the true meaning of the season. And if you still got office parties, church parties, neighborhood parties to go to, if you still have shopping to be done, it's okay. It'll get done when it's supposed to get done. Pump the brakes, take a deep breath, relax. It's gonna be okay. Just don't forget the true meaning of Christmas through all the busyness. Okay, that's my little soapbox for today. Excited to be with you guys. And let me say before I introduce you to our special guest today that super grateful for each one of you. I know you hear me say that a lot, but you'll have to get used to it because it's true. I am grateful for each one of you and super excited about the guests that we are already starting to line up for 2026. Already got a few interviews scheduled for the new year and just looking to add some new value inside the group. That'll come out. I'll explain that to you guys as we go on. But super excited, as always, to let you guys know a little bit about our guest. And Crystal has become, well, I consider her a friend. We have Zoomed a few times, and I love her heart to serve. That's what it's awesome because the people I get to meet and the people I get to interview, they have servants' hearts and they want to make a difference in this world. And you're certainly going to find that the case to be true with Crystal. Let me tell you a little bit about Crystal. Crystal Shelton helps capable, heart led solopreneurs who know exactly what to do but can't make themselves do it. She has guided more than 100 people out of chronic stress, anxiety, and emotional overwhelm into clarity and confidence. After experiencing her own rapid breakthrough, she discovered a powerful truth. Even the most capable entrepreneurs hold subconscious agreements that quietly sabotage their success. So true. Today, Crystal blends rapid subconscious rewiring with faith based identity work to dissolve those hidden barriers so action becomes easy, aligned, and often immediate. Known for her warm honesty and spiritual insight, she helps entrepreneurs step into the purpose God designed for them with confidence that finally sticks. I find all of that quite fascinating. Crystal, it's great to have you with us here on the network. Welcome.
Thank you, Steve. I am very excited and very happy to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're very, very welcome. I love what you're doing, and we'll dig into that here in a few minutes. But tell the viewers where you're from.
Well, I live in Washington State. My husband and I, we live in Southwest Washington, and right now we're trying out just a little bit. Well, no, we're not. It's raining too. So we've got a rainbow here somewhere, but yeah, we're just having a great time and traveling through the winter time as we move along here. And lots of rain, lots of flooding going on right now, so it's been kind of fun.
No, not flooding. Are you guys in a safe spot?
We are, yes. We do get to watch some of the roads just to make sure that we'll make it through. But yeah, there's a lot of rivers, and thank goodness up north they've got a lot of really bad flooding, levees breaking, historic in many of the historic areas. Just historic flooding, and it's been, you just kind of pray that people are okay and have the means to be able to move through and rebuild, because that's what life is all about, rebuilding.
Yeah, flooding is not a joke at all.
No.
I remember Nashville, Tennessee, where we lived at the time, had a historic flood in 2010, and it was just devastating for sure. So, yeah, definitely prayers for those folks in your surrounding communities. I'm trying to figure out my geography a little bit, and I might miss the mark. So, Southwest Washington, how close are you to the Oregon border?
We are about 2.5 hours away from Portland and about 2 hours from Seattle.
Okay.
So we are right in the middle in the valley, about 2 hours from the ocean and about 2 hours from the mountains. So
That's probably a nice location, right?
yeah, it's beautiful in the summertime. Don't tell anybody. Shh. It's just gorgeous. The huge volcanoes and the trees everywhere. When you have the blue skies, and I think that's why they call Seattle the Emerald City, because the sky is just, it's almost like a green blue in the beautiful summertime, and I think it's pretty amazing.
No, we don't want everybody rushing to
No,
come reside in your community, right? You got to try to keep it a secret gem for a little longer, right? Would you say the name of that town was,
oh,
Crystal?
did I tell you that it rains all the time all winter? nine
Yeah, I
months of
think you.
rain, 9 months of rain, and then like 3 months of really nice. So,
No need to
but
check the weather app. It's going to say rain every day.
yeah, yeah, possible rain.
So you mentioned your husband. So
Yep.
how long have you guys been married? And tell us if you have kids or grandkids and all that.
We've been married for almost 11 years, and I have two boys. They're both adults, so kind of fun to see them, watch them grow. My youngest is doing really well, and he's married and having working on his own little family. And my oldest son is mentally challenged, and he's disabled that way, and finding his way in Seattle.
Okay. Okay. Um, so what do you guys like to do for fun? I could be wrong, but is hiking, if you live in that part of the country, is hiking up near the top or no?
I love to hike. Personally, I hiking here is amazing because you never know where you're going to get to, and the views, because everything is very much up and down. When you hike, it's always going up a big hill, and then you can see across the valley. It's amazing. My husband and I love to sail, although it's been a while since we've done that. We've got the Pacific on the west side, and we've done a lot of sailboats, so that's been pretty fun. And I think my favorite thing lately has been music, and I have found my voice, which has been amazing. And now I play my bass and sing in our local church, which is super fun. And it's fun to see the changes that happen within our lives as we become a part of a worship team. And you're basically praising in front of everybody, and people feel that. They feel the Holy Spirit moving through when we are playing and singing, and it just fills my heart. It's so beautiful.
I love that you do that. And I'm not sure, we like I said, we've talked a couple times. I knew you played the bass, and I was excited when you just mentioned the bass because I'm looking over in the corner of my office at my bass guitar it looks like it's collecting a little bit of dust. But I don't know if I realized that you sang as well. And
Yeah.
so I'm even more impressed because like I don't play the bass well without doing anything else. And then playing it while singing, forget about it. So kudos to you.
It's been a journey. Learning to use my voice and trusting that my voice is going to be there has been an amazing journey just by itself. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was about 25, I was writing songs and I was playing guitar, singing, and my parents love them. And at the same time, they told me that they're like, oh, yeah, that sounds okay, but you just don't have a singing voice. And from that moment on, it was like, oh, my whole music kind of shut down because I thought, well, maybe just nobody told me how awful I sounded. And up until about 6 to 8 months ago, I joined the pastor's wife playing bass, and she's playing guitar and she's singing, and the pastor says, "Hey, why don't you sing with her?" I'm like, "Have you ever tried playing bass and singing at the same time?" And he's like, "No, but why don't you try it?" And so I tried it, and with practice, it got better. And next thing I knew is I was actually singing, and people were commenting, "Wow, I didn't realize you had that kind of voice." And then next thing I knew is I was being invited to sing in front of people, and it was a surprise, and at the same time, very grateful. I am so grateful to finally trust my gifts and to know that we all have our part in life that we're good at. And I think that's part of the goal, is to discover what that is and how we get to share our gifts.
Uh, I love that. You're jamming with the pastor's wife. So is the drummer a female too?
Well, no.
You're gonna have
we,
you're gonna have
we have,
the Go-Go's church style, right?
yeah, yeah. It was just the two of us, and now we've got a new pastor, so we're kind of realigning, which is beautiful. And who knows? The world is our oyster, and we'll see what God brings us in music and how that morphs into something beautiful.
Yeah, I love that you're serving him that way. It's meaningful and fun. So that's the way it's supposed to be.
I'll tell you what,
So
there's nothing better that I have found so far to be playing bass, singing, and you look out across the audience, people are going like this and closing their eyes, singing along, and next thing you know is tingles everywhere. The Holy Spirit is everywhere. And then it's like my bass and my voice, they're playing themselves. I'm not doing anything. It just kind of happens. And that is something.
I love that. I'm thinking, you know what? If I was doing that, they'd have their eyes closed too, but it'd be for a different reason. They'd be doing this. Oh no, he missed that note again. Oh, he's
Again,
singing. No, no. So I'm glad it's you. We all have our gifts, and I tell my congregation all the time. I said, "You'll pay me not to speak. I mean, excuse me, not to sing." And we have a very small worship team, and the worship leader I've hinted at. He's like, "You got a pretty good voice," and I'm like, and I'll be like, "No, no, seriously, if you need me, you'll probably have to train me because it's untrained." I said, "But yeah, if I can keep in my range instead of trying to go high like the '80s songs that I love so much, you could probably work with me." But he never asked me to come up there, so I think he's just trying not to hurt my feelings. So anyway, it is what it is.
It's all
Okay.
good.
We'll move on from the singing. Um, so I'm assuming you didn't always want to be an entrepreneur. What's your professional background like?
Oh gosh, when I was young, I I got pregnant. So I had a couple of kids and worked at odd jobs here and there. I trained horses, which is actually entrepreneurship. I did a bunch of things that were not the normal. And then all of a sudden, I found that Microsoft would hire me. And when that happened, I was so surprised because at that point, I didn't have well, I graduated high school, but I didn't have college education, which everybody focuses on now. It's like, oh, you need this and you need that and you need that. And when I worked for Microsoft, as I up leveled my life and my work career, next thing you know is I found myself in the office of the corporate VP, and I
Mm.
was her executive assistant. And whew, talk about the corporate world of high stress. You know?
Yeah.
And it didn't take long before I realized, although it was great and very grateful for everything I learned, really what it did was it taught me about stress. And not only about what it does being angry and frustrated, but also what it takes to move that from a stress that's overwhelming to calm and peace. And it took me a lot of effort and learning and like, oh my gosh, Crystal was in the victim mode for so long. And suddenly it was like the cave opened, the cave door opened and there was light. And when that happened, it was like everything changed. It was amazing. And when I found that I could actually be happy and have joy and peace, that's when I recognized everyone around me as I was working. I'm like, I feel like everybody is trying to kill. They're trying to die off. Not trying to, but just because of the stress and the constant go, go, go. And, go on a week's vacation and it takes 4 days to finally like calm down enough to where you're enjoying vacation. And then the last 2 days of vacation is saying, hey, we got to go back to work, in just a couple of days. So really what we're talking about is like 2 days of a whole week of actually relaxation. That's when I became a coach and an entrepreneur because I knew that it was my life's purpose to help people find a better way. And it doesn't mean they need to necessarily quit the job. It comes through their own personal leadership in how they can manage their mind and what they're doing and what they're thinking. Because once the beliefs shift, then there's an opportunity for everything else to shift. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh, hey, it's not really that bad because the story has changed. And I know that's a little vague, but there's a lot. There's so much depth here, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, let's unpack some of that. So how many years did you work for Microsoft?
I worked for Microsoft about 14 years
Oh,
total.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
And
was
you
full
said
time for 10.
you were what? I'm sorry.
I was full time for 10.
Okay.
So
And then you said you were an executive assistant to who exactly?
to the
What?
VP, we will just leave it at that.
No, I'm not looking for names. I just so your awareness of anxiety. Um, oh, there's so many words I want to use. Just that fast pace of climbing the company ladder, performance based. It sounds like you're in the thick of that kind of culture. Did you make a decision in the thick of that this can consume me too if I let it, and had to pick up some skills? I guess it's a two-parter. Pick up some skills, and I can't keep doing this. I've got to apply what I've learned and help other people. I got to get out of here to do it.
Yeah,
Does some of that mindset come into it?
absolutely. Yes. The the latter becomes consuming to a point to where you may not even realize it. You're the proverbial frog in a pot. You don't realize that it's affecting you until you see outward examples of things like, oh, I have headaches every day, or oh, I'm starting to argue with my spouse, or oh, my kids are acting out even more than they were before, and or oh, I'm gaining weight and I'm eating the same thing and I don't understand why. Or oh, that candy jar just like every day, or you're driving home and you just want to run into somebody, play burnout revenge in real life. And that's when you know that something is wrong. And at that point, I remember my manager saying, I really don't like people with a victim mindset. And I went, I don't know who he's talking about. But he never told me that it was me. He never said, this is something you can do. Here, let me help you. Read this book. There wasn't any of that. I went, after the fact, I thought about it. I went, oh, they need to add a little bit more of some of this, not just the high level leaders, but for everybody, so that everyone can be calm and be more productive and be fruitful in their jobs. So I found a coach who taught me the tools to come back to who I am. And at that point, I went, oh my goodness, the light came on of there's more. And my heart was filled with this overwhelming, I have got to teach people how to relax, how to break the patterns. Because really, anxiety is a pattern. Stress is a pattern. They're all in the mind, which at the time I didn't know. But now I do. And so it's really been a learning journey. And then when God placed it into my heart of, you get to do this, I've now been working with people for, it's been 6 years now. And I am so grateful. Every time I see the person who's gone from, oh, I was scared to go to my job because I'm going to be fired every single day, like every single day with that fear of, if I walk in, I'm going to be fired, to growing, learning, becoming the leader in his industry. And it's just like beautiful. You just kind of go, wow, to see the changes and their hearts growing. There's nothing better.
So you're working for Microsoft. You recognize the stressful part of the culture. How can you not? It's you're surrounded by it every day. And you're like, nope, I'm not gonna be absorbed. I have to be in it, but I don't have to be absorbed in it like everybody else. You get a coach, you get the tools you need. What a blessing that is. And you say, you know what, I'm gonna start helping other people with these same tools that I got. It's like kind of the aha moment you had. I'm gonna coach other people to have that. So you transition out
Hmm.
and you start working with people. Um, give us a little sampling of how you help your clients and what kind of results they're getting.
Mm, yes. Well, part of it depends on their goals. Um, But it's been super fun to watch people start. When we start working, usually it's about 2 to 3 sessions in, like a month in, and you look at them then, and you get them. I get them to look back and look where you started to where you are today, and most of them are blown away.
Mm,
We're always looking up the hill, right? When we're hiking, our destination is at the top. But sometimes you just have to turn around and look to see where you came from,
yes.
because that way you can see how far you've come and then celebrate that. Super, super important.
Yeah, that's huge. I always say there's a reason. Well, it's not my saying, but I love the quote that says the front windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror. There's a reason for that. However, it does not say that you throw away the rear view mirror. And that's what you're saying. We don't want to camp there, but I love what you're saying. It's good to stop because we're so driven, right? What's next? What's next? um, it's good to reflect and say, wow. Oh, and I'll even throw this in, especially for Christians. It's good to look back and say, look what God has done.
Yes.
And that's the whole purpose of Joshua 4 and the stones of remembrance, right? I have these stones of remembrance to sustain me to what is next, because there is a next challenge coming, and we need to be grateful and remember the faithfulness of God as we move forward.
Yeah. And listen to where he's leading us. Because sometimes you look at the cliff and go, I don't know. Are you sure that's really where you want me to go? And yes, he's bigger than that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that it's fun to see where people start. And generally, it's starting with noticing that there's a pattern. Like, I bought this product or I bought this course and I know what I need to do, but then, darn it, it didn't work for me. So then I bought another course. This isn't me, these are clients. So I buy another course because I need a new strategy, or I need a new this, or I need to do that. And that didn't work for me either. I just don't understand what's happening. 9 times out of 10, it's because they're not actually putting in the action that it takes to make their goal come true. So it would be like, I'm following this diet. Well, truth be known, most diet, I don't like that word, but most ways that we eat will work if we follow them. But if they're not
Yeah.
sustainable, we won't continue following them, which means it won't work. Are you catching what I threw down
That
there?
that is so good. I want to take you back a half a step in there, because you just alluded to it, and it's in your bio. And this really caught my attention in your bio. It says you work with people that know exactly, I may be paraphrasing that, but exactly what they know to do, but aren't doing. That's actually that's a fascinating conversation in itself. Like, do you find that that's most people? Because like there's some coaching, and I'm not bashing any program, but there's some coaching styles that are I'm gonna be a little dramatic in how I explain this, but basically, hey, what do you want to talk about today? And they're there to listen. They're there to help you discover what already lies within your heart. Because who knows better than you what your dreams are? That part's true. And then they're gonna ask you to flush it out, and they're gonna ask you what your action steps would be and what your goal is, and when do you hope to have this achieved by? Okay, and I'm not saying there's no value in that. I've had that kind of coaching before, and it's got some value. However, However, if I'm a baseball player and I can knock the tar off a fastball, but I'm struggling like a lot of people to hit a curveball, the former approach that I just described to you is not going to work. How do you think you should hit a curveball? Well, I don't know. That's why I'm seeking you. I'm assuming I need to position my hands on the bat maybe different. I need to move in a different position in the batter's box. I need to be looking for something in the pitcher's delivery. You see, I need somebody that's gone before me that is good at hitting a curveball to show me. Am I making sense? So I think it's a fascinating conversation between the example I just gave. No, I need help hitting the curveball. I don't know how to do it. But you're saying you work with people that know exactly what they're supposed to do, but it sounds like to me, tell me if I'm wrong, that there's mindset challenges preventing them from doing exactly what they know to do.
Mindset is a really great way to explain it in part. Mindset is about our actions, what we're thinking, but it doesn't actually connect the behavior. So when some people say, oh, you need to work on your mindset and be grateful, which is beautiful because gratitude can change so many things. But gratitude will not make it so like, oh, I'm very grateful for all the things I'm receiving and the challenges. But being grateful is not going to make it so that I take action. If I am an entrepreneur and I know the things that I'm supposed to be doing, but then I see this all the time. It's like, oh, I need one more certification and then I'll be ready. Or, oh, I'm getting ready to go do these things. And then it's like, oh, I'm too young. Or I'm too old. Or, this is just going to be too hard. I think it's just going to be too hard. Now, the thing is, these can all be true in their moment, in their mind. But when we take those words that they're saying, the I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not good enough, I'm whatever, and we tweak it, just so it's, oh, I'm not too old. I still have days left. And if I have days left, I might have a year left. I might have 5 years left. I might have 10 years left. And in that time, use every moment I can to become the next best me and to spread my message because it's important, right? The gal who worked with me one session, and all of a sudden she went from, oh, I'm not really sharing anything because I feel like I'm too new and like I'm not really good enough, to that one little toot, just like that. Next thing you know is she's going, oh my gosh, I'm doing all this networking and clients are coming in and life is good. Okay, cool. Because what happens is when we change the behavior, the words that we're saying to ourselves, we know that the limiting beliefs, the limiting ways that we speak to ourselves, most times we wouldn't say that to someone else. We wouldn't go, hey, Steve, you're not good enough to do this thing. How dare you be on here inspiring people to be worthy, right? To where these are the kind of words that we would say to ourselves. And hopefully you're not. And if you are, let me know because I can help you move through that. But these are examples of things that I see all the time. And within just 2 to 4 sessions, next thing you know is they're making progress in things that they never even thought. It was like, oh, it was too hard. Okay, 3 days later, how you doing? Oh my gosh, I'm on fire. All of a sudden, I'm doing all these things. Perfect. Because is that is how your business is going to grow. If you are inside telling yourself how awesome and how unstoppable you are, that's what you are. Have you ever heard that saying, whether you think you are or whether you think you aren't? You're right.
Couldn't
So,
report.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
No,
that's where it all starts.
I love it. I mean, I'm oversimplifying this, but you're basically spurring them to action. And the no's that have kept them safe are also the no's holding them back to what God may have for them. And I mean, I've said this. I'm only sharing this because it's recent. Um, I had I was invited to a room, uh, 200 miles away at an event. Gosh, was it even a week ago? It was a week and a half ago. And at first, I was excited. I was like, I know I need to be in that room. God's opening that door for me. But when I sat with it, all the border bullies came back. I don't belong in that room. That's going to cost money. Things are a little tight right now. That's time. That's going to be a half a day. That's a hotel room. That's a tank of gas. I don't know anybody that's going to be there. Oh, well, that wasn't even entirely true because the person that invited me was going to be there. So it was like I was looking for ways to sabotage it. And one of the ways I would have done that in the past would have been wait till registration got full, go to sign up, see that it's full, and then blame it on that. Oh, it's full. I didn't get to go. When in reality, it was my fear and my limited thinking and that whole family psyching me out of the excitement that I had first had to go. Now, this I'm going to finish this story quickly, and then I got a question for you. Um, so I battled with that. I'm praying about it. I'm getting advice about it. I'm overthinking it, quite frankly, which is what I do, and a lot of people probably can relate to that. And then I finally said, enough. I'm saying yes. I'm registering early before this thing gets full. And I said, even if I get nervous, I get scared, whatever, I'm going in the room scared. I don't care. I'm going in it. And I got the hotel. I got there early. I changed clothes. Da 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 da. I go. I loved it. I loved it. I never got nervous. I belonged in that room. I wasn't any better or any less than anybody else there. I get back to the hotel. I've got a late call with somebody on the West Coast, so call my family, say goodnight. I'm just kind of relaxing, and God gives me a download. What's on the other side of your yes? And I experienced that night, and that's kind of what we're talking about. Like, take some action. Don't be paralyzed by that. So I love that you're doing that for your clients, and you said you've been doing that. You've been helping folks for about 6 years, which is remarkable because that time period puts us through COVID too. So I'm so glad that your business was sustained through COVID. But I'm assuming in acquiring all these somewhat recent, in the scope of your life anyway, these skill sets that you've developed or acquired along the way that you didn't always feel worthy. Would that be fair to say?
Very fair. Yeah. In fact, I've been helping people through stress and anxiety and actually a lot of emotional overwhelm for a long time. Just a few weeks ago, I was working on some of my work, and there was a moment where the unworthiness really, really came in. And I'm thinking, where is this coming from? And sometimes, we have to look outside because we can know the tools. We can pray to God. And yes, God can always change it when He's ready. But sometimes His timing isn't quite like our timing. And so we're like, okay, am I supposed to find more tools so that I can help this? And what happened is I started to learn neurolinguistic programming, which really helps to change the mind really quickly and dramatically without talking about it a million times or going through okay, so what do you want to talk about today? And there's like droning on the same story, the same thing, because it didn't get deep enough, right? To actually pull it out and to move it through. So I had a practice session done on me, and I went from literally, I'm not enough, to I am unstoppable. That next day, you called me and said, hey, Crystal, you want to come be interviewed? And I went, hey, because it was like everything changed for me with that one little boop. Next thing I know is I'm taking action bigger than I have taken probably ever. And every time I do these rapid wire mind resets with people, it's so fast. It's so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that yeah. Yeah, if it can accelerate the process, that's always good. I found myself in a similar place a few days ago, and we won't go too deep down this, but like I've had to learn that I was doing mindset work by myself for way too long, and it does not work. You got to have people that support you, that understand the mindset battle, and it's just not meant for us to be alone in that. So I'm glad you have found um, the person that helped you with that, but also the technique that's going to help accelerate getting out of your own way, because that's huge. Um, Crystal, where, and I always ask this question, and folks know that I'll always put it in the description, but where can people learn about you and the awesome work that you're doing?
Well, they can go to my website, which is reallifevisions.com. So if you imagine taking the vision of your life that you have and turning it into real life, that's where you can find me. You can find me at Crystal at reallifevisions.com, which is my email. And then you can follow me on Facebook. That is where I talk about most of the work that I do. A little bit on TikTok, a little bit here and there. I'm kind of sprinkled everywhere, but Facebook is my my go-to where you can really find me.
And then who knows? We might be having you back in a year, and you have your first EP out with you singing and playing bass on
Oh, there you go. We'll see where God leads.
it.
There is definitely more and more of that. God is leading me to use my voice. So whether it's singing or speaking or just bringing His presence closer to all of us, there's a part of that in me that He keeps putting there. And it's like, oh, are you sure you want me to go that far? Yes, Crystal. Yes. And that's all of us. We all have our gift that we get to share. And when we don't, it keeps coming back. So when you see those patterns of why am I not showing up, the patterns of I'm not good enough, the patterns of all of these, we can tweak it real quick.
I love that example you got. God, are you sure? Think about the question. Yeah, he's sure. We're not sure. That's why we're asking him like that.
Yeah, yeah. I've argued with him many times, like, no, 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 that's not me. That's somebody else. No, it's you.
But
Sometimes we just gotta
really,
listen.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm really asking you, God, is there any way you'll change your mind? And
Nope,
no.
nope. But he will lead us down the path of unclarity to a little bit more clarity to a little bit more brave. And next thing you know is you turn around and look like, oh dang, I, I got a lot farther than I ever thought I would, and yet I still see the path moving forward.
I love it. I I love what you're doing to serve people. I love what you're doing in worship. And I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed and we've gotten to know each other. And I'm so grateful for you sharing your heart for God and for his people here with us today. Thank you, Crystal, so much.
Thank you, Steve. This has been super fun. I'm very grateful to be here.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Guys, I just get to remind you, I love that I get to remind you that you're worthy of love, respect, and success because of what Jesus did on the cross. And your story's not over yet. Believe that, be encouraged by that. I appreciate each one of you. Till next time, God bless.